Hey y'all, welcome to the 18th episode of the Yarn This podcast. I'm Shama, Jessie's Girl 84 on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find my Yarn This podcast groups on Ravelry and Facebook. If this is your first time watching, thanks for giving me a chance. If you're one of my returning yarnies, thanks for coming back. Today is Tuesday, September 27th, 2016. I'm doing things a little differently today. I usually have my notes over here to my right, but because of the way the camera is on my phone, and I've noticed since I've been using my phone that I feel like I'm looking down into the camera. No matter how high I set it or whatever, I feel like I'm looking down into it and y'all are having to look up my nose. And it makes me feel a little self-conscious. So I've moved my notes over here because the camera is over on the left side this time. And I'm hoping that it works out and it's not too awkward. Anyway, we'll see. It is what it is. We'll just try it out. Okay, back to the podcast. Today's segments include Puppy Love, my works in progress. Another one, Bites the Dust, my finished objects. The final countdown, what's coming up. Things that make you go, knitting terminology that you may or may not know. We Are Family, all things yarny. Podcasts that I like to watch. Indie Dyers. Of course, project bags, yarn that I've bought, acquisitions, knitting friends, knitting groups, so anything knitty that's not about what I'm working on. And the last one is 1 week, miscellaneous things about my non-knitting life. So, let's get started. First thing is Puppy Love, my works in progress. The first thing I'm going to show you, I've been showing you for a while, and I didn't make a lot of progress this week, but I really am happy with the little bit I got done on it, and that is my Happy Knitting Memories blanket. It's the Happy Memory Blanket by Georgie Nicholson, and I'm knitting this on 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles. Like I said, I only did a little bit. I only got one square this time. And this time I knit this out of the Rainbow Connection yarn by Kim Marie Knit Knacks, Kim Marie 73 on Ravelry. This is a 75 superwash, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. But it's not a super sparkly yarn, so you can't really see the sparkle. But you can see the rainbowness. Oh, isn't it beautiful? And I went ahead and knit this on because I'm also knitting another project with it, and I'm trying to use up all the yarn on that project. So I went ahead and pulled from the center and knit this. Plus I pulled out a little bit more for 2 mini skeins for 2 friends. So anyway, this is all I've gotten done. This is how far I've gotten on my Happy Knitting Memories blanket. I watch people and theirs just seems to grow by leaps and bounds. I'm sure that I'm going to come to a point where I'm sitting down and I can add a bunch at one time between episodes, and maybe I'll get 4 or 5 more in before the next episode, I hope. But that's what I've gotten done this time. And I don't like long-term projects, but having this one makes me happy because I keep getting really beautiful yarn to add into it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a sad one to see end, but it's going to be quite a while before I end it. The next thing I have going, you've been seeing for a while, but I'm making some progress now, and I think it's because I've finally made it to more than halfway, and part of that is because of the mini skeins I pulled out. But this is my Unicorns and Rainbows shawl. It's the Unicorn Party by Kathleen Dames. And again, it's out of the Rainbow Connection yarn by Kim Marie, which I just told you about. But I'm knitting this. It's a fingering, but I'm knitting it on size 6 US 4 millimeter needles. And since the last time I podcast, I've gotten nearly 2 inches done. That's not really too bad considering I add 2 stitches on every row, so it grows every time. And I only usually knit on it when I'm taking my son to work and picking him up. And I only knit on it at red lights or if I get to work to his work and he's not off yet. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words so much today. But anyway, so it's not a super deep shawl. I'll show y'all. Push back and stand up here. Oops, hang on. You can see it comes down there, and but there's going to be more from just the yarn itself plus the edging. Oh yeah, Rick Springfield. So I'm getting more and more excited about this. I'm down to 34 grams, and like I said in the with the Happy Knitting Memories blanket, I did pull out enough for 3 mini skeins, so that helped. But I have added 2 more inches, so I would like to have this done before Thanksgiving, if not sooner. But here's the edging I was talking about. Now, y'all saw this a while back if you've seen my podcast before. I think it was right after the Houston Fiber Festival. Yes, I bought this from Kim. I was working in her booth, and I bought this from her. And this is the Roy G. Biv mini skeins. Let's see what it says here. Each skein is 87 yards. So that's quite a bit. I'll have plenty for the edging, and then I'll have plenty left over to add to my blanket. I'm very, very excited. Look at these beautiful colors. The red is definitely a more deep red than that. Not at all an orangey red. Orange and yellow. And this is a true green, a very beautiful true green. And a light turquoise, which looks like a light blue here, and then this beautiful blue. So this is a very, very exciting. And I'm going to talk about some more of Kim's mini skein sets in just a few minutes, because I have something I'm going to start pretty soon. And yeah, so my next work in progress is a project I really thought I would be finished with by now. As a matter of fact, when I podcasted nearly 3 weeks ago, a lot of things happened last week, and I thought I was going to podcast on this day, and then anyway, I'm almost a week late, but I thought I'd be through with this before a week ago, and it just is a little bit more time consuming and tedious than I expected it to be, but I'm enjoying it. It's just a little bit tedious, and that is my Strawberries and Cream Frappe Socks by CC Allman. Java Pearl on Ravelry, and Java Pearl Designs is the name of her design website. This is from the Coffee with CC book. Y'all, if you've watched before, you've seen this book a million times. This is the 5th of 6 pairs of socks out of this book, plus the shawl, and I'm doing the year-long knit-along on the Knitting Broomstick podcast group, and we're supposed to complete all the projects. Well, I'm about 4.5 pairs in, so I'm almost done with my 5th pair. I'm very excited. Anyway, these are knit as usual on my 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles, but as you can see, and this time I'm not using my 9-inch circs, I'm using my double points, and that is because of the cabling in this pattern. And I was dropping stitches. For whatever reason, I couldn't seem to hold on to my stitches, so I just felt like I needed a little bit more room. But also because of the cabling, it pulls in a little bit more. It's a little tighter on my foot, so when I get up to the leg, I will be changing to a 2.5 3 millimeter needle. Here's the bottom. You can kind of see the yarn. That's probably pretty close. Did I say, oh no, this is Knitting Rose yarn Blossom Sock in the Casino colorway. And I've had this for probably 2 years now. I got it at the DFW Fiber Fest the first time I went with my knitting group anywhere. And so I actually was going to knit some Rose Tyler socks, also a pattern by CC Allman. But I just never got around to them, and I thought this would be perfect. And I'll just get some more pink yarn if I decide to, or when I decide to knit the Rose Tyler socks. So those are my works in progress at this time. 2 of them, one of them will definitely be finished before I record next time. So let's move on to another one bites the dust. The first thing I have is a hey ho, hey ho. I actually did get one of the socks finished with my strawberries and cream frappe socks. And I'm not going to go through the details again since I just told you about it in the last section. But here's the finished object. And you can see my socks aren't usually quite this narrow in the foot. And you can also see that I am the elusive Bigfoot that you hear tell of. Anyway, so this, you can kind of see the cable pattern. It's a neat pattern. There is a little bit more of it on the leg. And like I said, when I get up to the leg, I actually go up a needle size because the cabling pulls it in so much. It is a little bit snug, but not too much. I mean, it's fine. It goes over my foot easily, up my leg, over my ankle and everything. But like if I were on a trip and my feet were swelling, I probably couldn't wear these. But yeah, I really do like. Oh, and I haven't woven in. I have this end and then the one in the toe, and for some dumb reason I haven't woven those in yet, but I'll get to them. I mean, it's two ends. Anyway, so there you go. Those are my strawberries and cream frappe socks and my first finished object. My other two, I don't know how in the world I got them done because they are so huge. And I cannot wait until 1 week to show y'all this because I need to use it right now. I bought myself a new mug. Look at that beautiful blue. And look what it is. Y'all, seriously? I did it backwards, sorry. This is a Yarn This podcast mug. It can be yours for the low, low price of $99.99. I just put in my picture on the Costco photo page and ordered this mug, and I got it this afternoon, so I could not wait to show y'all. I was so excited. Isn't it precious? I just love that my younger son designed my logo for me. So cute. Anyway, I'm drinking Ethiopian coffee from Starbucks out of it. I get a bag every week since my older son works at Starbucks. And this was the one I chose this week, and I do like it. I mean, I do fix mine up quite a bit. But, and I have a Girl Scout Thin Mint creamer in it. Oh, it is so delicious. Yum. And it tastes so much better in my Yarn This podcast mug. Sorry. Okay, so my other FOs. My husband loves football, and actually I do too. I love football season. I love watching football with him. And I wanted to knit him just a little something for the first weekend of football season. And so I pulled up my Anna Horokovic's, I think it's Tiny Fall Pattern collection. I think it's 4 little fall patterns. That there's a squirrel, an acorn. That might be the one with the pumpkin. I'm not sure. And then this little footballs. So here's the first little football. It's just a regular brown football. I think I used Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. In chocolate, I think. Well, I did this one on Saturday afternoon before the first Sunday afternoon football. And I think it took me maybe an hour to do. And then I thought, oh no, I wanted to do something else too. But it was too close to him coming home, so I waited till early Sunday morning before he got up while I was getting ready for church. And I knit him another one. And this is a Texans little football. And I'm using the yarn from the, what did you call it? Scoreboard cow that I started last year for the Texans. And only finished up oh, good grief, did I almost say Patriots? No, not Patriots. Broncos. Oh, no. Wash my mouth out with soap. The Broncos scoreboard cow that I did for my husband, but I had all this leftover yarn from the Texans cow that I didn't finish. So I knit him a little football out of it. So this is Knit Picks Brava worsted in the red and solstice heather. And I knit both of these out of size 5 US 3.5 millimeter needles. I think it was the color change that made this one a little bit more rounded on the ends. Is it rugby balls that look like this? But anyway, he liked them. So these are 2 of my FOs. And that's all I have in Another One Bites the Dust. I will have other things next time. Not, I hope, unless something major happens, I will have at least one, if not two, FOs next time. Well, I'm going to go out of order again this time and go to things that make you go, because the final countdown kind of segues into We Are Family, and I don't want to have that break in there. So, things that make you go, This time is OTN. That's not something you see all the time. OTN means on the needles. That just means, what are you knitting right now? So that would be my second Strawberries and Cream Frappe sock, my Happy Knitting Memories blanket, and my Unicorn and Rainbow shawl. Those are what's OTN, on the needles right now. And that's your thing that makes you go, this time. Okay. So, going into the final countdown. I've said this for several times, but as soon as I finish this sock, I have two pairs of socks I'm going to cast on. The first one is my I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice socks. Again, by Java Pearl. This is the last pair of socks in the book, and the last one for the Knitting Broomstick Coffee with CC year-long knit-along. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering. This is the Delphinium colorway, which is purple. I should have known that, but in the picture it looked blue, and that's fine. I really wanted blue and brown, but purple is one of my favorites too. So, and this is Fawn, yes, the Fawn colorway, F-A-U-N, and it's definitely not that. It's a reddish brown, but it's not that red. Anyway, I'm very excited about these socks because they have a big cable down the front of the leg and foot. I am really excited about those. The next thing that's going to be on the needles, and y'all, I know that I keep doing this segment, and I'll tell you something, and then a lot of times I end up not doing it right away, and there are things that I still plan to do that I talked about a while back, like the Hitafude, and the Wendy's Cal, what is it, Wendy's? Anyway, so, yeah. Oh, I'll show y'all what the I Love You More Than Pumpkin Spice socks look like. Ooh, y'all, look at that cable going down the leg. Isn't that amazing? Yikes. I love cables so much. So, yeah, they'll be next. I think those will go faster than these. But anyway, I digress. The next thing is I'm going to cast on a pair of Halloween socks. I'm probably going to do just a vanilla. My problem is that I want to do one of the Beyond Vanilla socks by Mina Phillip. But there are, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 8 patterns. It's Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1 and Part 2. And I just can't decide. I should have pulled these up a little better. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is a little bit better. This is the Driftwood. It kind of looks a little bit like the Hermione's Everyday. Not exactly, but kind of. There's also, you know what, this is going to take forever. Y'all can go and look up the Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1 and Part 2. And tell me what you think. I don't know if I really want to do the Staggered Path socks. I'll show you these because they're a slip stitch. and I don't know, they're awfully pretty. But I think really you do better with this one for the self-stropping yarn, and I'm going to show y'all the yarn that I'm going to be using. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this. So, Kim had been talking about wanting to knit some Halloween yarns, And Halloween. I love, love, love Halloween. I knit some Halloween socks last year out of Knit Picks Felici. I can't remember the name of that. Anyway, and so, but I want to do more Halloween socks because, I mean, really, if I had 31 pair of Halloween socks, I would probably just wear a pair every single day of the month. I'm looking for my Halloween socks from last year. Yeah, my trick-or-treat socks. Knit Picks Felici in the, yeah, spooky colorway. Here you go. And I did these out of CC's vanilla cappuccino. It's just a vanilla pattern, and use the Fish Lips Kiss heel. And it's not that I don't want to, I love this pattern. I love CC's vanilla cappuccino pattern. But, yeah, I think I want to do just a slightly different one, give myself a little more patterning, but nothing too difficult because I want to get them knit up quickly. But here's what I have to show you. This is the exciting thing. Oops. I'm giving away some stuff here by flashing it. Let me put this here. Sorry, y'all. So Kim had knit a sock blank, and she was very unhappy with it. She did it in oranges and greens and black and purple. And when she wrapped it up to let it go set up, she squeezed it, and the black kind of squeezed through it. Well, that really upset her. She's so funny. She said when she wants to name one of her colorways Temper Tantrum, because when she messes up the way she wanted it to be, it doesn't come out the way she wanted it to be. She feels like pitching a temper tantrum. So we told her she should. But anyway, so I wanted to show y'all this sock blank that she was upset about. But I got it at Knit Group the other night. We all oohed and awed over it. Look at that, y'all. Look. Orange and purple. Look at the purple and the black. And the yellow right in here, and how the yellow and orange kind of run together. Oh, let me see here. Look at that. Oh, and look right here. Tanu, SpongeBob Tanu on Ravelry, said I need to make sure and get this part on the leg because it looks like blood drops. Oh, y'all look. I am so excited. Somehow or another, I've got to use up all of this yarn. Of course, I'll put some of it in my blanket too. But seriously, I don't do knee socks. That's the only problem. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use it all up. But, oh, and it smells so good. Wouldn't it be awesome if it was like candy corn smelling? Or pumpkin. And I put it in my new project bag. This is another one of my We Are Family items, because this was another really exciting thing that happened for me last week. Tanu had told me a couple of weeks before last that she had something for me, but she forgot it at home. And then the next 2 weeks after that, that's what it was. I wasn't there, and she brought it, and I wasn't there. So when I got there last week, she said, I've got something for you. Did I show you my yarn this mug? Anyway, so she turns around and gets something and hands it to me. Y'all, look at this project bag that she made for me. For me. And she made one for Sue as well. Look at that. Daleks. It says exterminate right there. And right there it says Dalek. Don't y'all just love it? Ugh. Of course I hate the Daleks, but I love the Daleks because they're Doctor Who. Yes, I love this bag. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tanu. I cannot thank you enough, and I'm excited to keep my Halloween socks in here. But that's not all. Right after I podcast last time, I think it was like the next day, the Geeky Girls podcast went up, and I started getting messages. You need to watch the Geeky Girls. You need to watch the Geeky Girls. So I did. And they always have seasonal knit-alongs on there if you don't watch them or you're not part of their podcast group. And so the one for the summer was Summertime and the Living is Easy cow. You know, whatever I knit up, I just put in there. You have to tell them why it's a summer cow. But usually for me, or project, I'm sorry, summer project. It's because I knitted in that season, and that's perfectly fine with them. I don't even know what number, what project, what project it was that they drew for, but I won a prize. And not just like a prize, but y'all, I won a project bag. I am so excited about this bag. Oh, look, red and gold chevron. It kind of gives you a hint to what the bottom of the bag is like. Wonder Woman! What? Wonder Woman, y'all. I wasn't going to use this till I podcast, but since it kept getting delayed, I couldn't wait anymore. So it's been used, but look at it. Look at the colors. And look at the blue in her hair. I'm so jealous. I want that blue hair. Look! Y'all, seriously? Wonder Woman. Boom. Look at that. It is a big bag. I could probably knit a shawl in here. But right now I have my strawberries and cream frappe socks in here. This bag was from a bag maker that I'd never heard of before. That Semifero girl. Semifero girl. Grrl. Amy Semifero. That's her name. She has that Semifero girl Etsy shop. And it turns out she's a Texas girl. A Texas girl sent this to Scotland and it got sent back to me. Anyway, I went to her Etsy shop, but right now she's on vacation, so there's nothing there. But if this bag is any indication of what she does, yeah, I'll take some more. There's the padding is not super thick, but you can feel it. It's got a good body to it. It doesn't stand up on its own, but that's okay. I mean, I don't really need it to. Anyway, I was super excited. I don't usually win, and especially not like one of the big prizes. And boy, was I excited about this. So, yeah. And I'm in a lot of knit-alongs now, so my chances of winning have gone up considerably, but still, a gazillion people enter these. And when you consider one that goes on for 3 months, and there are some people who every week finish 2 or 3 or 4 projects, they must be knitting gauge swatches or something, dishcloths, I don't know what, but they're getting several projects done a week. Because I hear their name on the Geeky Girls podcast every week, and they'll say like ×2 or whatever, how many projects they finished. So I couldn't believe that I won. I really didn't expect to. It's just fun to enter, Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh well. I'm going to have to go out of order. It was something I meant to do in the final countdown, but I'll tell y'all in a minute. Okay, so a while back, y'all might remember that I showed you a book from the 80s called Beastly Knits. And what it was is an Intarsia book, and it had animals, big animals knit into the sweaters, sometimes on the front and the back. Sometimes, like with the flamingo's neck wrapped around the back of the sweater and the head came around. And I honestly don't hate it. Well, for one thing, I love the 80s. I can't find a thing wrong with the 80s except that they're gone. And that was, I was 13 when 1980 rolled around. I finished high school. I went to college, I got engaged, I got married, I graduated from college. A lot of the big events in my life happened in that decade, on top of which the music and the fashion and, the fun and, well, Rick Springfield. What are you going to do? Anyway, I found out that Lala Ward, the girl that wrote Beastly Knits, had written another book called Foul Knits. Of course, these books are out of print. They've been out of print. But, I can get these from one of the used booksellers through Amazon, and I pay like $7, and more than half of it is shipping. So, I just wanted to show y'all this book. This is Foul Knits, and this is Lala Ward. Isn't she just the cutest thing? I mentioned this last time when I talked about Beastly Knits, but she was married to Tom Baker. Doctor Who. And this has some really, really interesting birds. Birds I'd never heard of, like this turquoise-browed mott-mott. Look at those colors. And see these right here? These are actually feathers. I thought they were the feet, like it was tall bird. Those are the feathers. And y'all might be going, yeah, duh. I know about that bird. But my mom is more of a bird person than I am. I love birds. I love birds. When I go to the zoo, I spend an inordinate amount of time looking at birds, and I even have my top 5 favorite birds. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I believe that this book maybe benefited, oh, it was to the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. So I don't know if she donated money from this book to that. But there are some beautiful things. Why don't I ever mark patterns? Now, I really don't care for this sweater because, for one thing, I'm just not a turtleneck girl at all. I'm claustrophobic, and because of my thyroid issue, both of those things together, I don't like things like around my neck. Cows are fine if they're loose, but just looking at this makes me feel gaspy. But look at that beautiful swan. I would do it on a different style, like a more modern style sweater if I were to do something like this. Oh, well, I guess if I have to. The flamingo, my favorite bird. Oh, well, this is not a great picture. But it's a mama flamingo and a baby flamingo. And just like the other book, the flamingo's neck wraps around the sweater. Ugh. I love those stinky birds. They are so beautiful. There were a couple of others I wanted to show y'all. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to tell y'all, she writes a poem about a lot of these birds in this book. Each one. They're so cute. It's just such a cute little book. Look at that cockatoo. I love cockatoos. They're so hilarious. Have y'all seen the video? It's a cockatoo, and there's metal playing in the background, and the cockatoo's head banging, and then they pan around the room and show these other 2 cockatoos looking at it like, That's kind of how it is with my older son. He wants everybody to love metal, and his friend had sent him that. It was like when your friend tries to make you love metal. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted again. Oh yeah, this would be such a good one for my mom. Finches. Y'all, how cute is that? This makes me think of Breakout by Swing Out Sister. Do y'all remember that song? Breakout. Do, 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 do. Anyway, I love that song. Sorry. Really, really. Oh, yeah. Oh, and my favorite. Another one of my favorite birds. 3 of my favorite birds start with the letter P. Favorite is flamingo, and then peacocks, and then puffins. Look at that little puffin. And then, of course, the toucan next to it. Aren't they adorable? But look, puffins. I think the reason I love puffins so much is Childcraft. Does anybody remember Childcraft books? They went along with the encyclopedias, but they were for kids, and they had one with stories, one with poetry. I think there was one with crafts. I have my whole Childcraft set still. Anyway, there was a poem about puffins, and I loved the way the puffin looked, and it's always been one of my favorites. Oh, and my next favorite bird is, yes, penguins. So, peacocks, puffins, and penguins. Oh, look, Avocet. Like Miss Avocet from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Are y'all going to see that? Have you read the books? Fabulous. The movie comes out Friday, and I'm going to see it. If I have to go by myself, which I hope I don't, but yeah. Let's see. Oh, and my favorite extinct bird, and I don't like the yarn they knitted this out of, even though I do sometimes like this. This is a dodo bird, y'all. I love dodo birds. They had one, not a dodo bird, obviously they're extinct, but when we were at the Indianapolis Zoo over the summer, they had they had like this garden at the end as you're leaving, and they had these huge Legos that people had built, and they told like how many Legos had been put into it and how many man hours had been put into it, and one of them was a dodo bird. Oh, I loved it. I got pictures of it. It's on my Facebook. But yeah, there are a lot of birds. How many birds are in this? I can't remember now. Oh, well, it doesn't say. But here's a really neat thing. Oh, look at the penguins. Here's my other pea birds. Penguins. Anyway, so at the very beginning of this book is a little packet, and I feel very fortunate that I ended up getting this in case I ever do decide to knit one of these. These are the charts that came with it. I guess the person that had this, it doesn't look like they ever even opened this. So all the charts are in here. They kind of have a little semi-chart. I'll show you. Like this. But that's not the chart, and it says so right here. That the charts in this book are for illustration only, and that these have not been reproduced with accuracy. So here is a set of accurate charts for these. I know it's ridiculous because I don't need these books. And I don't buy a lot of knitting books that I don't think I would knit out of right now. But y'all, I really do think there's a possibility that I might end up with a bird or an animal intarsia sweater. Probably not this winter, but maybe for next one, I hope. And I'm going to bring up another book that I have talked about before. And I probably shouldn't because I'm in the process of reading it right now. But I've had this book for several months because I had heard about it. And since I'm loving socks more and more and more, I bought this book. It's the Sock Architecture book by Laura Neal. And she talks about all kinds of toes and heels. And so what I've been reading is, she talks about how your foot is, like if you've got a high arch or a medium arch or a low arch, what kind of heels work better. Sorry, just a second. Sorry. One of my friends has a high arch, and she loves knitting the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but she says it does not work for her high arch. So Laura talks about that in here. What kind of heels work best for different kinds of arches? And she says instead of doing a full sock or a full, like knitting up the foot or from the leg, from the cuff down, and then knitting a heel and finding out that it doesn't work, these are the swatches that she does for heels. So you can at least try it on and see how it feels on your heel. I thought that was a really good idea. She's really talking about things like what kinds of heels and how they work and why they work and how to get gauge and how to measure your foot and toe shapes. So in this book, she's got several heels and several toes. She's talking about top down, a good way to cast on. See, here's some more ideas for heels. And it's just extremely informative. It's an easy read. She talks a little bit about history, and I love history, I don't love, oh, it sounds terrible to say, I don't love knitting history. I just want to knit. So, I know, that sounds awful. I know there are people who love knitting history. And I should, because I do love history, but anyway, that's beside the point. Here's a heel I think looks interesting. She talks about afterthought heels. That's called the shaped common heel. Did I say afterthought heels? Yeah. I think this one's cool too. Thumb joint hat top heel, and then there's also a toe. Can you see how it looks like the top of a hat? Anyway, So not only does she have a variety, quite a variety of heels and toes, a lot of toes, a training wheel toe, and I'm assuming, oh yeah, she talks about the shape of your toes. Like if you have a rounded toes or straight, squared off or like tapered. Mine are a little more tapered, I think. And you know, people start off usually with like, I know that when CC Almond starts off her socks, she usually starts off with like a fourth of the number of stitches she's going to end up with. I cast on for half because that fits my toe better. I feel like I'm trying to get into a pointed toe shoe, and pointed toe shoes are not for me. So it just feels better to me to have have more stitches when I first cast on for toe up. And then there are a bunch of sock patterns in here. Strié, mouchoir, I don't know. Anyway, and these take advantage of the different kinds of heels and toes that she talks about, and shows you how to use them in a sock pattern. So I might eventually try a pair of these or more. And let's see. Yeah, she has them top down and toe up. So yeah, this is a really good book. This is called the Bootstrap Sock. I think that's kind of a cool looking sock. It's kind of plain. So if you wanted a vanilla sock but wanted just a little tiny bit of interest, there you go. And that actually has to do with the heel. See, it shows here. There's the heel. The bottom of it. Anyway, Uncommon Dragon. Ooh, yeah. I love dragons. So I'm not going to keep going through the patterns, but this book, I am going to keep reading it, and I might come back and talk about it a little bit more with y'all later. I think, oh yeah, that's right. I did have one other thing I was going to talk to you about. I bought a pattern the other day. Let me look it up. I think it's the Pixel patterns. Hang on, y'all. Sorry. I'm going to go to my, I've been on a pattern buying kick. My husband's like, yeah? What's this? Okay. So I think this is called the Pixel something socks. And what it is basically is using up your scrap yarn to knit socks. They're really cute. It's a really cute idea. But I decided that maybe I would Pixel Rise by Kemper. I've heard people talk about Kemper. I think she has a podcast. I'm still working on other podcasts right now, so I haven't found hers yet. Junk Yarn. That's the Junk Yarn. Here are her socks. And I think it might have a slip stitch in it. But I decided it would be really cute to do Kim's neon mini set. I'm getting a glow here. There we go. Kim's neon mini set, and use like a dark gray or a black for the toe, heel, and cuff. So Kim and I are talking about that, and I'm gonna get those on the needles pretty quickly as well. So I'm very, very excited about those socks. So I've got those socks. I've got the Halloween socks in my Dalek bag and the sock blanket that Kim knit. Oh, did I tell y'all I decided to call that Bad Moon Rising? I thought that would be a good name for that yarn. So yeah, I think that's all. So what's been going on in my non-knitting life? September 12th was mine and my husband's 29th wedding anniversary. He worked that day, so we didn't get to go out until the 15th. And we're very high maintenance people. We ended up going to a mall it's a ways from here, but it's one of our favorite malls. It's just got neat shops to go in and a lot of neat places to just wander around and look. And so we went to Memorial City Mall, and when we made the first turn, and we saw this shop called Lolly and Pops. I should have brought the bag in to show y'all. Anyway, it's a candy store, and it's pretty amazing. They have this gourmet cotton candy. My son has gotten some from, it's in California, I think San Francisco, and you can order it, and they have a bunch of different flavors of that. It's really, really good cotton candy. I mean, the flavors like pumpkin. For right now, they have pumpkin, and closer to Christmas, they'll have like a mint one, and it is absolutely amazing. I can't remember what we got him, salted caramel or something like that, and it was just fabulous. But anyway, they also have honey, and you can buy honeycomb, or you can get jars of honey with honeycomb in it. I love honeycomb so much. My dad used to keep bees when I was a kid, and so that was one of my favorite things about when he was extracting the honey, was I got to eat honeycomb. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. We got some things, and I got some Zots. I don't know if y'all remember Zots or not, but they were, it's a kind of a hard candy. It's hard, but it's something you can bite into, and the inside fizzes. And I didn't remember this, but it's pretty sour, but it is so much fun. It's kind of like Pop Rocks without the pops, but a lot of fizz and zing. Awesome. If y'all can find a bag of Zots, you ought to try it. Oh, by the way, Lolly and Pops kind of reminds us of Rocket Fizz, but maybe even better. And you can buy like jars and even like tins, and they cost quite a bit of money. But you can buy just the jar and fill it, but you can also buy it and have it refilled for life. So I think it's a really neat little store, and you get like a card after you've spent so much. For every $10 they punch it, and then after you've spent so much, you get $10 off your next purchase or something. It's really neat. So we wandered around and looked at stuff, and we just enjoy going out together. We don't get to do that just a ton. So just walking around the mall and looking at stuff was a lot of fun. I had a gift card from James Avery from a very special friend of mine. You know who you are, Ashley. And we were looking at charms, and they had one I wanted, but it was retired, and so I wasn't able to get it when I wanted it. But they have a new one. It's the peace sign. Oh, y'all, isn't it awesome? So I had to leave my precious charm bracelet while they soldered it on. And it was ready the next day, but this mall is not super close to us, and the next day was Friday, and I couldn't get there till late in the day, and Saturday it's going to be way too busy, and Sundays we go to church and we take a nap in the afternoon, and that's about what our Sundays consist of. So I didn't get back till actually the following Tuesday, so I was really happy to get it, but I love this charm. I have a Starbucks, well, it's not officially Starbucks, but it's a Starbucks cup. And a heart with a heart in it. I love that one. The blue glass one. The first one I got on this bracelet was a flamingo. And then the last one on this one is the pine cone. Oh, I love every single one of my charms. And they have so many. I would love to have like all of them. And what I really want to get next is one of their pinky charm rings. And get a charm, maybe one that can be engraved with mine and my husband's initials, or I don't know. I mean, I'd kind of like to have one with the boys' initials too. I don't know. We'll have to see, but yeah. I love James Avery. Oh yeah. We also went to, Hot Topic. We were just looking around. We always go on Hot Topic. Look at the shirts and all the Doctor Who and fandom stuff in there, and they have a ton of pops. And my husband said, well, so which one do you want? Well, they had the War Doctor, which I really, really wanted, but they also had Peter Capaldi, Sonic sunglasses, playing that awesome electric guitar. Did y'all realize that was really him? He and Craig Ferguson used to be in a band in Scotland. I think it was a punk band back in the 80s. So yeah, he really does play guitar. How can I not get my awesome little Peter Capaldi pop. Oh, yeah. I love Peter Capaldi. For me, it's David Tennant of the ones I've seen. David Tennant. Probably Tom Baker and Peter Capaldi. But it's hard for me to actually choose Tom Baker over Peter Capaldi or Peter Capaldi over Tom Baker. Could I say Peter Capaldi more times? Anyway, so yes, that goes on my little Doctor Who pop shelf, which I really want to fill up. What else? Oh, yes. My phone woes, y'all. It's so sad. Or something. I told y'all last time that I had gone to get the Galaxy Note 7, and they were out of stock, and literally the next morning, they were going to get some in. Literally the next morning, we got up, and my older son said, "Did you hear? Samsung recalled all of the Galaxy Note 7s because of the battery issue." Really? Okay. So I'm one of these that I'm like, yeah, it was probably a user error. So I probably would have gotten one and just exchanged it when it was time. So then I was like, well, it's going to be a long time, and I kind of could use a new phone. Mine's acting really weird. So we decided to go get the new LG V20. It was supposed to be out last Friday. Suddenly, for some reason, it hasn't been released in its home country, which is not the U.S., where it's made. And there's not a release date for the U.S., so I'm still using my Samsung, which is, it's okay, it's fine, but it's lagging and the memory is short and there's nothing I can do. This is one of those where they were really big on sealing them up for waterproofing them, and so you can't get into them, you can't expand the memory, you can't change the battery, nothing. So as soon as that comes out, hopefully I'll be able to get a new phone. And I realize that this phone works, and I am very grateful for my phone. I don't want to sound like a spoiled brat, but for podcasting purposes and for a phone whose battery can be exchanged and can hold a charge, because this one doesn't hold a charge real well, that would be good. So I have another big event coming up in a little over 2 weeks. I'm so excited. It's going to be my high school homecoming / all class reunion. So Friday will be the homecoming parade and the game. And then on Saturday, one of my friends from school has arranged a class reunion for anybody that ever graduated from our school. This is the 3rd time he's done this, and it is amazing because there are people from other classes that come to our class reunions, and I love it. Because I had friends in other grades, but this is for everybody. So I get to see people that I wouldn't necessarily get to see since I don't get to live in my hometown. But I'm excited. I'm super excited about that. The next thing is my younger son. I think I told y'all he had worked at Whataburger, and he worked overnight, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. usually. And he had been there a little over a year. He quit back in May, I think it was, because I would say you need to have another job before you quit. But he still lives at home. He doesn't have any bills that he has to cover right now. So I said, I think under these circumstances, you need to quit. It was dangerous. One night while he was off, they were robbed at gunpoint. Another night while he was there, these 3 guys came in. 2 of them ordered, 1 of them went straight into the restroom, and they got their food and left. Then somebody went into the restroom, and it was covered in blood. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows what was happening to that guy that was in there, but they were together. Yeah. And it just, people would come in drunk, high. He had to kick out a group one time that was in there. They were all high, and they were having a food fight. And it just was not safe. So I was fine with him quitting. So he applied at HEB, which is a Texas grocery store chain. And I think he said there are some in northern Mexico. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, he had his first interview. I think he applied like less than 2 weeks ago. Had his first interview last Saturday. They said, we'll call you by 6 o'clock if you get a second interview. I think it was like 3 o'clock, they called him and said, you got the second interview. And that was this morning. He did his interview, and as he was getting done with it, the girl said, well, I'd like to offer you the job. Would you like to take it? And he said, yes, absolutely. He's really excited about this company. And she said, I'm looking forward to watching you grow with this company. So I think that's really a neat thing. She said she worked there when she was in high school, the girl that hired him. She quit and went off to college, got her degree, and came back and has been working for them for the last 11 years. So that really says something to me about this company. So, yeah. Let me see. Oh, my goodness. I really didn't think I had that much to talk about, and I'm approaching an hour. Okay, I'm going to quickly show y'all one last thing. Right before I started, I realized that my grandparents' anniversary would have been just a few days ago. They're both deceased. But my grandmother died right before their 60th anniversary, and we were planning to have a party for them. And even though we found out she had leukemia and it didn't look good, or when we knew it didn't look good, I thought everything was going to be fine. I was 27? Yeah, I was 27. I had a baby, and I just kept telling myself she's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. But she had a fungus, they said, in her lungs from probably gardening. And not everybody gets it, but she had it. And when they started doing chemo, that fungus took over her body, and it killed her quickly. Like from the day that we found out she had leukemia until she died was 20 days. But anyway, I was doing a cross stitch, because that's what I did back then, was cross stitch. I was doing a cross stitch for their 60th anniversary. And it's got a stain on it. It's never been framed. It's been folded up in a drawer. But I just thought I'd show y'all. I did this for their anniversary. Lawrence and Marion's 60th anniversary, September 20th, 1993. Okay. My phone has done this to me twice now. It's just shut down and gone to something else. So I'm going to figure out what that problem is and get rid of that before I record again. I'll just have to put these together. Anyway, so she died before I finished it, and it was a big secret because it was going to be a party. And anyway, I finished it because it gave me something after she died, and then I gave it to my mom, and like I said, it's never been framed, so eventually I might get it framed, but I don't even know why I pulled it out to show y'all, but that's just something I used to do, was cross stitch. Excuse me, a lot. And so I took up sewing, and then I did that along with cross stitch. And then I found knitting. Yeah. I still like to do both, but knitting, that's my thing. So anyway, since my phone has decided it wants to cut off at weird times, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for now. I was going to talk about one other thing, but it's not important. We'll talk about it another time. So, if you like this, please like, and don't forget to subscribe. The subscribe button down here. And until next time, knit on.